Today, the long-awaited 7th episode of the amazing digital circus released. Without a doubt, it's the craziest yet, revealing a ton of lore, information about the characters, and of course being packed with hilarious jokes. Like usual, I'll give a quick synopsis of what happens, and then move on to talk about the things I liked and disliked about it. I hope you enjoy. So, in this episode, called Beach Episode, Kane has the cast go to the beach while he does other things. A mannequin who calls himself Abel shows up, revealing that he was one of the programmers who worked on the circus. The group work together to gain admin powers to access Kane's office. By the end of the episode, they're in a special room where they can choose to leave the circus or stay in it. Jax basically has a panic attack and hits the button to stay in the circus. Kane and Bubble appear to reveal that they got the good ending and picked the right option. The entire thing was an adventure the whole time. Abel was an NPC he created and deletes him. Jax crashes out, pointing out that Kane is a hypocrite. He really can alter their minds. Kane quickly vanishes, leaving the cast left stunned at what they just witnessed, which is fitting, considering that's how the audience feels as well. So with the synopsis covered, let's get into my thoughts. Hands down, I think this is my favourite episode yet. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. The digital circus consistently gets better and better with each episode. The writing is genius, the characters are extremely deep, and the jokes are spot on. First up, I thought this episode was paced extremely well. It's around the same runtime as the last one, but it flowed great. Although most of the episode was setting up for that twist at the end, it was completely worth it. I also think the scenes were written in a deliberate way, to keep the audience on the edge of their seat. The entire time I had this uncomfortable feeling in my stomach. I was genuinely worried about what would happen. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but it's not often that I watch an indie show and get these sort of deep feelings. In terms of plot and lore, they really locked in. I think when writing this, Goose and Glitch thought about what things the audience would theorise about, and then made that into an episode. Almost everything that played out was things I've seen people theorise about, or I've done theories on. The entire time I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense, and oh yeah, I remember theorising about that, all for it not to matter at the end. It's cinema. The thing is as well, is that if you put the puzzle pieces together, a lot of it makes sense. Jax clearly had something traumatic happen in his real life. We see images of a car driving fast down a dark road. Maybe he accidentally ran over and killed someone and just sped off to evade the scene. He was hiding in the abandoned CNA office and put on the headset, ending up in the world. From the way Jax acts, it almost gives off the impression of him enjoying the circus more than his real life. He's incredibly anxious and worried in the lead up to that final scene. Maybe he's torn. On one hand, he wants to stay in the circus to escape whatever he did as a human. However, he knows the circus is bad for him and the others. He's seen what it did to Kaufmo and Ribbit. He's worried the same could happen to him. Just a wonderfully written character, Jax is awesome. I think the star of the show is Abel. Before the episode came out, I had a suspicion that he was a human, but the way it ended up was a big twist. Jax even called him out as a twist villain, which was hilarious. Everything Abel has said and done lines up. It makes sense, he could have been telling the truth. On the other hand, maybe it really was an adventure made up by Kane. The way there's just something off about Abel the entire time. He comes across as an unreliable narrator. He has an extensive knowledge of the circus, but he's clearly deliberately leaving out some details, especially regarding Kinger. He even acts weird around Pomni too. The fact that he's been around since the start, in the background of various episodes. Did Kane really have this long-running bit this entire time? I think regardless of whether or not the adventure was a fake-out, Kinger absolutely worked on the circus. This ties into the final scene of the episode. Jax realising he was right. Kane can alter their minds. This opens up Pandora's box in terms of ideas. Kinger reveals that the first abstracted human was called Scratch. Maybe he did something to them or the others, making them all abstract. Is this why Gangle is always sad? Is it a trait put in by Kane? Is he the reason none of them can remember their names? It's scary stuff. The way Kinger walks out of his pillow fort and his eyes immediately change. It's like a debuff or a setting that immediately kicks in. Kane very well could have put this on Kinger to stop him from being his true self. I think this episode will be extremely important going forward. It's where the shift in the story starts. The cast are now aware that Kane is not a villain, but he's clearly an antagonist. He works in opposition to what the cast want, which is answers or an escape. From this point on, they'll be on edge. He can technically do whatever they want to them, and this is going to cause issues. As we see throughout the episode, Kane is obsessed with validation. He wants the cast to respect him, but all of these events will just push them away from him. Maybe they all just start being rude to Kane, or do what Zubul did and refuse to go on the adventures. Who knows how he might respond? He could start to go crazy. A couple months ago, Goose and Michael mentioned on various livestreams that this episode could be divisive. It could piss some fans off. I think we can see now what they meant. All of the theories people have been sitting on for years now have been thrown up in the air. Are they fake? Are they true? Who knows? Did Jack screw everyone over by hitting the wrong button impulsively? What if he hit the other one? Would they really go to Shrimp Town? I can see why some fans could be upset. There definitely will be some frustrated, annoyed people after this one. This is more of a miscellaneous thing, but I love the little references throughout, like Senior Pello and Zach Hadel voicing the fishies. The animation was superb, raising the bar like always, especially when Jax was tripping out. I noticed that Ribbit has a voice actor in the credits, being Sky Redden, and after going back, we briefly hear their voice in the snow globe object that Jax watches. So maybe that was the adventure they abstracted during. I'm so glad that Ribbit has a voice actor now. I hope we get that Ribbit Kaufmo flashback everyone's been asking for in a future episode. I've talked extensively about all the things I liked, so is there any issues? Well, like usual, the Digital Circus is largely pretty flawless. It's extremely difficult to find issues in it. I do think that at this point we're getting to that part of the story where things are going to have to progress fast, which could impact the pacing. There's 2 more episodes after this one. There isn't much time for things to resolve themselves. There's so many unresolved plot points, like the past abstracted humans, Scratch, Ribbit, Kaufmo, whether or not Kinger worked on the circus, Jax's backstory, and the ultimate question of if they can actually get out. We have about an hour worth of content left to figure all of that out. Things are going to have to fly in. This can be risky. The pacing could become a mess and be too fast. The payoffs might not be as good as fans were hoping, and the worst thing would be if the show ends and it feels premature. Like they could have gotten more out of the story, but didn't because it was a set in stone 9 episodes. Honestly, that's my biggest worry. I think by the end of the show, fans will be wanting more. However, the story will be over and we might not get answers to some of the burning questions, though I think we'll just have to cross that bridge when we come to it. We have a few more episodes left for things to wrap up. So in conclusion, I loved episode 7. It had a great balance of exciting storytelling, beautiful animation, and just a fun experience overall. I'm excited to discuss it in future videos. So what do you think? Did you like episode 7? Let me know down below. As always, thanks for watching.